So welcome back to the A to Z challenge. We are all the way up to Q. Q is always going to stand for query, pretty much. Querying is such an important part of writing that I can't not have a section on querying as part of the writing advice. The reason for this is because you're going to need a query for everything. Queries are basically the back cover copy of a novel. So if you go into a store and you're trying to figure out what is this novel about, it's often a query letter. Some sort of short synopsis that's kind of catchy, kind of quick, kind of picks you up. It sort of tells you what's going on, introduces you to the characters, the plots, the stakes, and then out. So it's fast, it's short, and above all, it's got to be interesting, and it has to make somebody want to go from, oh, this is a pretty cover. I wonder what it's about. Oh my God, I have to read this. That's what you want a query to do. If you can get a query to do that, you're done. That's the only job of a query, is to make somebody take the book to the next stage, which is to flip to the first page. Once you have them flipping to the first page, it does not matter how amazing the query is. If the first page isn't going to keep them, they're gone anyway. So a query letter is to get a person to get to the point where they're reading the first page. Some people, by the way, do not read the first page in books, at least not in bookstores, and will just buy them. So a query letter really is where people will buy your book from. So you need your query letter to be really good. It needs to be fast. It needs to have a nice flow to it, but it needs to not be so fast that you lose people, and it needs to sort of not sound like a used car salesman wrote it, which is what I always do. Mine always sound like a used car salesman wrote it. Come on down. It's excitement in space. It's really terrible. I need to not do that, but that's pretty much how I write my query letters, and then I kind of make them a little bit better from there. Now, if you're saying to yourself, oh, but Rena, in my publishing path, which I picked thanks to your help yesterday, I'm not going to query agents. I am going to self publish. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, you're going to be writing query letters for the rest of your life, dear writer, because if you're going to self publish, guess what? The query letter, you're querying all of your potential readers. Yay! So yeah, basically you have to learn the hard way about writing advertising, and you're not going to have a bunch of other people helping you do it. So if you're going to go self-publishing, you are also going to need to master the query letter. So I highly recommend, if you're going the self-publishing route, to also follow all of the advice about query letter writing. You do not want this to be more than 250 words. More than a page is, it's going to kill it. So 250 words is your maximum. And that should include, like really 135, 150 should be what you're aiming for. So like even half a page, even less. Right? I know. So you want it to be really short, and you want it to be short because you don't have a lot of time. Imagine your reader in a bookstore with their kids. Ha, right? So there they have their kids. They're trying to wrangle their children. Let's say just for a moment that they have two children, and one is 3 and one is 7. I cannot imagine a more horrible moment in my life than a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old in a bookstore together. Mom, I want this, I want that. They see miraculously your cover and pick up your book because of the cover. They are going to flip it over and see what it's about. You have to be more interesting than two children screaming at them. That's how you get sales, basically. So, yeah, the query letter. Very important, very hard, very difficult. Now, for those of you who are like, oh, no, I'm going to go traditional. Yeah, well, you have a worse time of it because you're going to be in the slush pile of numerous agents while you're trying to get to the big five. And you have to be more impressive and interesting than everything around you pretty much for the last hour, because they will have been doing this probably for an hour straight, maybe many more hours. Or they'll be doing it on the subway, or they'll be doing it late at night when they can't sleep for whatever reason, or they can't think because their inbox is so full. And so they're going to pick up their query stack and start going through it. You have to be more interesting than everyone else. You have to be so interesting that they're willing to take a big chance, a bigger chance than just buying a book at a grocery store. So, yeah, query letter. It's actually important. You actually have to learn how to write them. Good luck.